let's get this started. This show started. Um, for those of you who have been following us for a while, we want to just remind you that we do have Black Success Magazine out, and I'm very excited about that. It was a long time coming, and we finally got the magazine itself out. So it is out, it's running, and it's all over the place. We're very excited about it. Had some technical difficulties, so it was up on our website. It will be back up again today, and so you'll be able to get that. Just go to our website at blacksuccessmagazine.com. That's blacksuccessmagazine.com, and you can actually check out the magazine. Also, if you want to be on our mailing list and you just have not gotten to it yet, and you'd like it just in your mailbox, just send me an email at info@blacksuccessmagazine.com, and we will send that to you. So let's get going here, and let's talk about some of the positive things that happened as a result of COVID. And I'll tell you, folks, unless you were under a rock this year, you probably know what happened about COVID and the coronavirus, and it and it still is, just wreaking havoc all over the place. Started probably December of last year, 2019. The entire year is just devastated everybody. Businesses, musicians, Hollywood, people's lives, just everybody. It's just turned everybody upside down. And what it caused people to do is it caused separation from everybody. So you couldn't, and you still can't, go to people's homes. You can't go to restaurants. You can't go to movies. All that stuff where you have to be a socially distanced from people, 6 feet from people, that kind of stuff. And it's really just kind of put the kibosh on anybody. In the mornings, I go out riding every morning. And so you can't see it, but I actually have a really nice bike over here. And I ride it every single morning. And when I go riding in the morning, I listen to a UK radio station, and it's called Jazz FM. Been around about 30 years. And for those of you who don't know about the UK, United Kingdom or Britain, they are going into their third, fourth, or whatever phase of lockdown in their country. And one of the things that goes on in the UK is you get a lot of stuff before you get it here. So before you know what's going on here in the United States, even though we're leading the charge for the cure for the coronavirus, you hear a lot about what's going on in the world globally through the UK, because they're an English-speaking country and democracy and all that stuff. So what has happened in the UK has been, especially music-wise, is they've been doing, a lot of musicians have been doing their music remotely. So, and you've seen it here in America too, but really a lot of jazz musicians in the UK have been doing, let's say they have a 3 or 4 piece band. So what they'll do is they will record the music singular or separately between these guys, and then they'll put it all together. And in one case, they did an entire concert that way, which is really just kind of crazy. So they did an entire concert that way. So we're going to talk about some of those type of things, and why should it even matter to you as a business person, somebody's on a success journey. I tend to use every situation that I'm in as a learning experience. I generally will not waste it and just kind of go through an experience and not learn something from that. And Warren Buffett said the same thing. Warren Buffett said, look, go to bed a little bit smarter each and every day. And I hope that that's something that you adopt too. So going through this whole COVID pandemic, I hope that you got smarter. And I know you did. A lot of you did a lot of adjusting. You didn't just kind of hang out every day. You got smarter each and every day. So let's look at some ironically positive effects of COVID during 2020. And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna wear my. These are actually not new glasses, they're old glasses, but I rarely wear them. I tend to wear my other glasses. Number one, it forced families together. So many of you probably um, have spent a lot of time with your families, but because you're at home all the time, especially once they started locking down schools, it forced you to hang out with your family members that maybe you had not seen. I know in my family, because we owned a restaurant and then we sold the restaurant, uh, I've spent the entire year with my kids. I mean, uh, and so there are things that you may not have noticed before that you're noticing now, and you're going, has that been? How long has that been going on? So it brought us closer together. It forced us together, and that was probably a positive thing in a lot of respects, because there's things that you may not have known about your family, and because you're gone all the time. But many of us were gone for years, and you might have been gone your entire life. But this year, you were forced to be with your kids in a more intimate way, and I hope you got more intimate. I really do. And if not, maybe because we're not out of the woods yet by any stretch of the imagination. Use this time that you've got with your family to get a little closer to your family. Number two, it forced businesses to fight for their lives. This is kind of I don't know. Yes, it is positive, because we came out of a time in 2019, 2017, 2018, 2019, where the economy was just rolling. I mean, people are spending money right and left. Businesses were opening up all over the place. And even businesses that had been struggling found that, man, things are going pretty good. My gosh. COVID hit, all of a sudden, bam, you as a business owner had to start fighting for your life. I mean, you're fighting to keep that thing alive. And I think people fell in love with their businesses like they'd never fallen in love with them before. That's important. I mean, it really is. Because in business, if you don't love your business, if you don't have that passion for it, you're not going to fight for it. And there are business owners that have said, hey, look, my business was closed. It was opened. It was closed. It was open. I'm losing employees. And now you're having to fight for that business to stay alive, because if you didn't, guess what? You're going to lose it. And I think that's a positive thing. I really did. I know a lot of people are saying that it's a negative thing. Oh gosh, I look at it, I lost my business, but you found the value in that business. I know personally, 2020, the beginning of 2020, we really started Black Success Magazine as a magazine, as a full-blown thing that we're really pushing forward. We also started the Black Business Chamber of Commerce, something that really we'd just kind of been dabbling in for like the last couple of years. But this year, we've had to fight for this thing. I mean, fight for it. Focus on it like you never focused before. And I think that we've seen positive results as a result of that, because we were able to build an infrastructure and create relationships with people that we may not have ever had to make before. And I think that's a positive thing. Did we struggle? Oh yeah, definitely struggled. But I think overall it's been a positive thing that happened. Number three, it made everybody focus on digital education. So you've got kids. Many of us have children. Your child stopped going to regular school face to face sometime in February, March, something like that. And the transition to going to distance learning all of a sudden became front and center. Is it perfect? No, not even close. In one township, half the kids aren't even there. They're not even going to school. But what it has done is it's created a psyche, a thing where you're looking at distance education in a whole different way. And now there's schools that probably never offered distance education. Oh yeah, they're doing it now, because they know that that's the only way. It's a new paradigm. It's the new normal. And because the way schooling is here in America, and it's been just spotty at best, the next time it's going to be better. So we're not going back to the same old. We're just not going to go back to the same old. They found out that now that this digital realm is positive, that and we'll go into some other reasons why, but they're finding out that this distance learning is probably going to be here for a long time to come, and they're probably going to quasi make a hybrid thing for learning moving forward. So that's a positive thing, because really you can learn a lot more at home. I know I do. I learn a lot more in this kind of environment where I've got a little more time to digest what I have to do than being in a classroom. So, for some people it works out great. Number 4 is create an entire new industry based on digital. And there's new businesses that are actually have been spawned as a result of this whole digital thing. And I right off the top of my head, one of the key ones is education. I mean, there are people have brought it in. Another one is what we're doing right now. This whole communications thing, the whole webinar. Before this, you probably never even heard. We probably heard about Zoom. You probably heard about GoToMeeting and a couple of other platforms, but they were nothing like they are now. Now, this whole realm, this whole digital presentation way of communicating with people, this is the wave of the future. Our whole business model for the Black Business Chamber of Commerce normally is face-to-face interaction. That's generally what it is. Networking, face-to-face classes, that kind of stuff. COVID basically said, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to be meeting with these people. You're not going to be meeting face-to-face. You have to do it digitally. So when you think about Toastmasters, you are thinking face-to-face. Our Toastmasters group, which started, June, July, something like that, has only met face-to-face 3 times, I think. And we meet every week. It has, because of COVID and the lockdowns and the restrictions and everything else, we have been forced to go online. And guess what? It's fine. I really don't mind it at all. I can do whatever I've got to do from the privacy of my own home. I don't have to get dressed. Sometimes I mean, right now I'm all dressed. I mean, I'm wearing a full suit and stuff now. But many times you don't even have to get dressed. I mean, you just wear something decent up here, and because that's all people are going to see. And it's just changed things tremendously. Now people are creating backdrops for Zoom meetings, or creating all kinds of neat things because they know people are communicating this way now. So there's a whole new industry that has spawned because of it. So very, very cool stuff that's happened. And the reason why is because there's a necessity to do that. Number 5, it's forced businesses to rethink their financial positions. And this, once again, COVID hit. Basically, the government said you're going to be shut down for 3 weeks. Then that 3 weeks turned into 3 months. That 3 months is now turned into literally 8 months now. And businesses that normally operated week to week, month to month, or something like that, have had to now rethink how they are actually living and doing their business. Most homeowners live on a budget. And you budget, and the wives know this, and some husbands, know this also, is that you generally are encouraged to have at least 3 months of money stashed away so that you can actually survive with if something should ever happen. And it's not that everybody follows it, but that's basically the general rule. At least 3 months, sometimes 6 months, it depends on who you're speaking with. Business owners now had to rethink themselves because going forward, something like this may happen again. So now business owners are not going back in and going, I can just go make pay, I'm going to live month to month or week to week or something like that. Oh no, it's not going to happen that way. Business owners now are rethinking this. Banks are rethinking this. Everybody's rethinking, how much money do I need to survive? Because I'm not going to go week to week. Storing up water, storing up toilet paper, all that kind of stuff. We're rethinking everything we've got to do moving forward. That to me is a positive thing, because we don't want to be, and it reminded me of a new thing I'm going to put on here too. We don't want to ever be in a position like this again, where you're having to worry about whether or not you've got enough money or whether you've got enough, things to tide you over for the next week. So you can't live that way. Um, let's move along a little quicker here. It's forced everyone to do things virtually. So we've been talking about this before, where now uh, you have employees, you have communication, you have meetings. You can't just stop life. Okay, life doesn't just stop because you can't meet each other face to face. Now you're actually having to meet each other virtually. And not only that, but it's become the new normal. I have meetings every day with, it might be 15, it might be 30, 40 people a day. I cannot stop meeting with people because I'm building a business. I've got things I'm meeting with. I've got people I'm collaborating with. And it's all done virtually. So now people, I think that's a positive, because I might have to meet with somebody who's in New York. I might have to meet with somebody who's in, or across town. I don't have time to stop, to get in my car and go there, so we do it virtually. It works out perfectly. It really does. I think that's a positive. Save money, save time. I can focus on doing my stuff here at the command center, as opposed to having to go to an office or something like that and doing it that way. Number 7, it's created more podcasts and more podcasters. I think that's positive. There has never been a time where there have been more people doing podcasting, becoming podcasters, becoming better at this medium than what happened this year. I mean, it's exploded. I don't even have the numbers on it, but it's got to be at least 1,000-fold, where you've got more people who've come out and said, look, I've got things to say. And not just, I'm going to do it this week and I'm gone. They've stayed with it. I mean, they've stayed with it and stayed with it. Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast have seen a definite spike in the number of people who have come out and said, and you know why that's good? The reason why it's good is because that's more information. People need it. I need it. You need it. If you're listening to this right now, the reason why you're listening to me right now is because you're saying, I need this. I need this kind of information to keep going. I need more information about business and marketing and all these other things. That's a great thing. Look for those. So you can look you can actually get our podcast. You can get this on Apple Podcast, Google, Spotify, Anchor. You can get it any place and everywhere. And not just on those formats. You can hear it anywhere in the world. Literally anywhere in the world. I've seen our podcast in France, Spain, all over the world. So it's a proliferation of the podcast industry, and that's great. And what's going to also happen? Podcasting is going to get better. It's just going to get so much better. I mean, it's going to be awesome. Number 8. We've saved gas because no one has traveled. No one's traveling all over the place. So I'm going to tell you a little secret, okay? There has been a move afoot among all city planners to try to get you out of your cars. Okay, I know this is going to come a secret to everybody, but city planners, I know here in my city, because I ran for office, I was running for city council, and I was got to see the city plan for the 2045 plan, that kind of stuff. The whole idea is to get you out of your cars so that everybody can be a little closer together and building cities where they're more walking friendly, that kind of stuff. But the problem every city has had, especially here in Las Vegas, is how do you get people out of their cars? Well, a pandemic really did a pretty good job on it. And the thing about it is one of the positive things that has happened is people have saved gas. You're not in your car, so you're not traveling all over the world, driving needlessly to get from here to there. Places where I might have gone and driven, or you might have gone out and driven, you probably found alternatives to that, or to get your stuff to you. Amazon, eBay, all these other platforms where you've called or you've used the internet and you've gotten your stuff to you. Food deliveries, all those things have happened as a result of this pandemic, and that's actually a positive thing. I mean, it really kept it stopped people from driving their cars needlessly. They found that only time they drive their cars are for essential reasons. People are not just driving all over the place. It's just not. They're just not doing it, and that's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing for the environment if you're, one of those people that are really environmentally conscious all the time, and we all should be, shouldn't we? So it saved gas because no one's traveling. Number 9. Okay, we're almost just a couple more. If you're like me, one of the things that happened as a result of the pandemic is that you're probably cooking at home a lot more. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Not just a little bit, but a lot more because you're at home all the time. So not only are you just cooking breakfast, but you're probably cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and hopefully you've been getting better at it all the time. Matter of fact, we just brought on somebody onto our staff. Her name is Brooke Brim, and she's the author of 4 books, I believe, 4 books, and they are on vegan soul food. Oh yeah, and I have been on her Facebook page just gobbling it up. She, if you actually want to find out what Brooke has been doing, just go to Vegan Soul Food and look her up. I think it's vegansoulfood.co. Okay, and you can find her. And so we're all cooking a lot more. 2 more. Okay, it's made us all reevaluate sanitation. Oh man, yes. I was riding Sunday, coming home from Sunday, met up with a guy. We were riding bicycles, and I met up with a guy who works in the industry, sanitation industry, and even he said, he goes, I never realized how dirty we were. I never realized how dirty we were and how important it is to clean up after ourselves. And this is a guy who works in the industry, and he's worked in it for a decade at least. And he said, "Oh my gosh, COVID has taught me a lesson on how to be clean, how to continually be clean, because there's some things that we just took for granted. I mean, we'd go around touching every surface in the world and touching our face, and we'd never realized how dirty we really or how unclean our environment is. And COVID has really taught us that a lot of the diseases that we're getting, a lot of the viruses and all this other stuff, we could probably avoid those things. And we need to clean surfaces a lot more. I mean, we really do. I think that goes without saying. But we probably could be a cleaner society if we did that. Lastly, many of us started businesses, home-based businesses, because of COVID. Where we probably were not thinking about it, we did. And we created home offices to do that. I would assume that their whole tax structure is going to be changed, because not only can they say, oh yes, I changed professions, but now my profession is out of my home because I have a home office now. And that's a great thing. I think COVID actually probably spawned a lot of business owners, because now you're not going to work at that restaurant. You're not going to be working at that particular place. So you've had to be inventive. I am a big proponent of people starting businesses. And so if you can get people out of working for somebody else, I am there with you. So, and COVID has done that tremendously. It has opened up realms of possibilities for people that maybe you weren't even thinking about before. And I think that is a positive. So we just went through, just kind of scratched the surface of at least 11 just ironically positive effects of COVID. I hope that you've been safe, healthy throughout this whole thing. And so, as moving forward 2021, that you're going to continue just to be inventive and think about great things that you can do now, because you've got all these different outlets of doing things. Once again, folks, if you would like a copy of our magazine, Black Success Magazine, you can go to our website, which is blacksuccessmagazine.com, and you can check it out. Just go there. Or send me an email at info@blacksuccessmagazine.com, and we will get that in your hands. I'm very excited about that. And there's so many great things that are going on, folks. That coming forward, 2021, we'll be launching a new TV show. We're shooting the pilot for that in just a couple of weeks. Next week, we're going to have on our show a couple of really cool guests. John Ponder from Hope for Prisoners will be on next week. Looking forward to that. He's got a remarkable story, so you'll get to hear him. And then in a couple of weeks from then, we'll have Tim Sanders, former executive for Yahoo, yahoo.com, so very excited about that too. Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray, Black Success Magazine, the podcast. We want to thank you all for being a part of the show, and we will see you again tomorrow, Christmas Eve. We'll be off Christmas Day, but we will see you tomorrow, Christmas Eve, for Black Success Magazine, the podcast. This has been Sherman Ray. We'll talk to you soon.